Mic check, 1, 2. Well, thank you for that amazing session by Rachel, Siti Nurul, Nazira, Amir Zakwan, and also Mark Young. It was indeed very interesting and insightful. Now, almost every aspect of today's modern economy and society looks for emerging technologies to make our lives easier and have made profound impacts on the economy. I believe you can agree with me on that. But now, to tell us more about the future, about 5G, something that I'm sure everybody here is very interested about, and its innovative solutions. So please welcome Lo Wei Chung, Head Partner Ecosystem Development Cloud Business Unit of Huawei Malaysia. This session is titled Cloud on 5G, Inspire Innovation with Everything as a Service. Let's see how cloud and 5G will change the industry landscape and the many ways that you can quickly serve the community and a nation. Over to you, Lo.
Hi. Good afternoon. Thanks everyone for coming. And thanks to Wow Digital to having us here to share a little bit of our thoughts from Huawei. So my name is Wei Chung. I have been involved in the cloud industry for the past 7-8 years, and now I have been with Huawei Cloud. All right. So a lot of you may have not known that Huawei Cloud has landed in Malaysia since 2 to 3 years back, because we have been very busy doing customer business. So that's why I think a lot of people still think that Huawei is in about the consumer handphone, the laptops, or perhaps a little bit of 5G here and there, right? So what we are going to share with you today is what you can do with 5G when it starts to land in this country, right? Instead of people telling you that with 5G, you can download a movie very quickly in 3 seconds, right? With 5Gs, you can have online streaming, chats with your friends, colleagues, or even, I think, some of our friends showcase their metaverse solution, saying that this will be the future, right? So from Huawei perspective, we have been deploying 5G in the entire China, all right? And of course, a lot of South African country, a lot of Latin American country as well. So 5G is not new to us, and we have also started our cloud business in 2017. We have built a government cloud in Dubai called G42. So we are also not new in the cloud business. So when Huawei lands in Malaysia, the first thought we have is how do we want to position ourselves differently since we are latecomers in the cloud business? Do we want to go against the current principal clouds on price war? Just spend hours of time to debate whether I can give you 20 cents cheaper every hour? A waste of our salary, right? So whatever things that we have debated previously about price war, about all this, I think that's no longer the positioning of a China-based company like us in Huawei. So today, what we are going to showcase to you, not a lot, but I'm just picking some of the recipe from my pocket, about 6 use case with a very short amount of time on what we have done in China or in some part of our world, and especially in Southeast Asia, okay? Because to be honest, we started new, but we roll very, very quickly. So Huawei Cloud has been deployed in more than 5 regions in Southeast Asia: Hong Kong, Bangkok, Singapore, and of course, Malaysia. We collaborate with Telecom Malaysia. So we do have a local region here. And by the end of this month, we will launch in Indonesia. Next year, we'll launch in Philippines. So eventually, by next year, we could become one of the biggest cloud provider in this region, right? But then the next conversation we have, besides being a cloud principal, give you compute, storage, AI, big data, you name it. What else we can provide to you? From Huawei perspective, we have so many success use case, right? And can we do a little bit of sharing here today? For example, what we can do with logistics. I'm pretty sure you guys have bought a lot of things from Lazada, Shopee during the past MCO. And I think the e-commerce players are enjoying the moment. But of course, you also suffer that the parcel don't deliver on time anymore. You may notice that now your parcel can take another week or two to deliver. Right. So happen in this because due to the rapid demand, right, are you able to do more closely tracking? Okay. Of course, a lot of people say, yeah, now I can do tracking, you know, I go to the tracking website, I key in my logistic number. But you notice that sometimes you'll still found that your parcel has been losing in the middle of delivering, right? You will found that sometimes your parcels can stuck somewhere for a few days. Okay, so fleet management tracking has not been a new topic, but it's always very costly to do that, right? You'll notice that fleet management solution will always have to play a device, something similar to my clicker here, right, into the car console to just keep track. Sometimes people say that they keep track via satellite signal, GPS positioning. So what if I have my fleet that run into a place that can't even receive GPS signals, right? So there will be cases that, for example, some of the branded luxury goods from Europe. I don't want to name some of the brand because they don't pay me advertisement fee, but just imagine those expensive handbags. What if they want to keep track through the open seas? There's no, you say, yeah, there's GPS, but eventually tracking is still an issue to a lot of people. And why this matter? Because people have bought a very expensive handbag from their own branded counter, but still find that the handbag is fake. Okay, so to address all this issue, logistic company has spent a lot of money and effort in tracking their parcels. So what we are trying to say is that how China can basically do this tracking and tracing process so efficiently, because we know that there's 5G there. So technically, your parcel can start to track at the moment in the warehouse. Even your parcel is not being packed all the way through the fleet. Either you transfer it by lorry, by trucks to another warehouse, because your parcel may not come from the same city or same town that you stay, right? So you will notice that when you buy something from Lazada or Shopee, end of the day, your parcel go through a few warehouses. Although sometimes you get the tracking status from the website, but sometimes you don't, right? So with 5G coverage, technically all these are being traced, all right? And of course, we also have technology from Huawei that eventually you can trace through the chipset all the way to the satellite itself, okay? And of course, you may have started noticing, our upcoming flagship phone has the capabilities to reach to the satellites, through our Beidou satellites, okay, in China. So this is what I want to share with you about logistics in 5G, that perhaps it will change how you see the tracking and tracing process, not only in country, but also cross-country. Right, retail. So a lot of people has been suffering because retail business can't operate for the past 2 to 3 years. And people has gone into e-commerce. But recently with, more common vaccine, and I think almost everyone has got their COVID for the first time, sorry to say that. And the crowd start coming back, right? Retail business has started reviving. But the thing is that, how do you stand a chance or a differentiator to let your customer has more options to buy from you, right? So in China, we do not really rely heavily on e-commerce anymore. But from Huawei perspective, we also realize that customers still have to see and feel the product. For example, especially for the fashion industry, right? So in this case, Huawei has created a mobile services that come with an e-commerce application that even support augmented reality. You can try it using the AR technology through your mobile phones. I think that's nothing new. But what if you can even do 3D product listing? Okay, you can have the machine learning kit that builds into your e-commerce mobile apps, okay, and help you to do recommendation for your customers. Okay, so you will say that, hey, Huawei mobile services, is it very commonly used in Malaysia or this part of the world? You may have doubts, right? Is it the mainstream is still Android, Android Play Store or the Apple Store. But in fact, I can share with you HMS some numbers, right? Even like last year, by the end of last year, we have 30 million downloads a month, just in Malaysia itself, from Huawei mobile services. Okay? Right. The next thing, aquaculture. Okay, we have been talking about agriculture, greenhouse, perhaps a little bit of sensor, vertical farmings. But in China, and even some part of this world, even there are a few projects in Malaysia that will start to talk about precision farming. So how precision farming can be important to everyone? Because what if I can measure the minerals, okay, the nutrients in the water real time, okay? Then I know how much to feed my livestock, how much to feed my shrimps or fish in the farm so that they are not overfed, right? So precision farming has been made possible, especially in places like China and some part of this world in Indonesia, in Malaysia, because of the 5G technology that we have deployed. So you may be asking the next, hey, farms usually at a very rural area that don't cover by network. But with Huawei, we do have something called the Ruler Star. Ruler Star is a 5G product that allows us to do a mini extension into a very far area or very rural areas that eventually you can still connect back to your master grid. Okay, that's where Huawei, we confidently says that we make this technology possible. And of course, just now, I think our panel also talked about drone. So we even start to talk about plantation coverage using drone technology with the combination of LoRa network. So how does it work? We can plant sensors throughout the plantation, even it doesn't come with electricity or internet or even telco coverage. When the drone fly over the plantation, basically the signal will be sent to the LoRa gateway that we install on the drone itself. And when the drone fly back to the back office, the data will be synced back to the cloud and start the analysis process. So we have proposed and also start the POCs in some of the plantation in Malaysia already, all right? So next, what if 5G can go to your children's lifestyles? People will say that, hey, yeah, kids nowadays get to play tablet, or video games, mobile games, day and night. But there are also monitoring devices that you can call it a smartwatch, or we call it an EduWatch, from Huawei or from a lot of companies starting in China that basically we have enabled intelligent lifestyle in children for they to learn how to spend their money through e-wallet and integration through all the bookstores, convenience store, retail within the school itself. So all this has been made possible in the 5G implementation. But you may ask me, can I do it in 4G? Yes and no. If you have noticed that a lot of new buildings or campus, you don't have very proper telco coverage, especially indoor. That's because you don't have enough transponder installed, or your transponder can't cover a lot of blind spot. So 5G, when we launch together with a few Wi-Fi products in the Huawei landscape, we technically tackle this problem already. So technically saying in a new kind of development or even helping some property developer in country that they try to refurbish their malls, we have stepped into this kind of commercial space to help them restore their network. With or without 5G, we put in Huawei devices to try address all this problem, to remove blind spots, right? So, yeah, I think something fancy that a lot of people like to see. City management, smart city, I think, of course, if you are fancy about the city simulation game like SimCity, I think this is something that we always want to do for our country. But SimCity has been in conversation in Malaysia, I think, for the past 20 years, nothing get kickstarted. Perhaps a little bit in here and there in the state government. So I have gone into one of the state government that have fully implemented the so-called smart city solution with thousands of CCTVs, okay? But end of the day, they have hundreds of screens hang on the wall. connecting to each of the CCTVs. I have been wondering why you want to do that. You know, when you watch the Hollywood movie, you should have a single screen like this. Then you can switch in between cameras. So I say, wow, that is too expensive. Well, I say, that's because you have not reached out to us yet. Because you reach out to the big brand and you buy 500 over TVs to just monitor your streets. Okay, with Huawei, we not only come through the city management, through all the sensors, through the traffic condition, through the traffic lights, anything you can name it, any sensors that you can plant in the city. So when we talk about everything as a service from a Huawei cloud perspective, we also talk about everything sensing. Everything sensing is a term that I borrow from the Chinese terms where a direct translation that technically, if you can plant a sensor anywhere that you want, you can basically keep track the status. You can basically know the real-time states of the event, of a product, of anything. So that's why I just want to borrow the stage to just share with you, everything sensing is something that has been very commonly implemented in factories, in the streets, or in the government of China. And we also replicate this to Dubai as well, right? So everything sensing in Chinese is what we call 万物物联. Okay, so a little bit of Chinese terms here. All right, something that maybe a lot of people will feel it. Why I have to queue, stuck in the traffic, where I'm still paying the toll, right? So you can see that in the entire China, more than 60% of the toll are gantry-less, and it's all implemented by Huawei as well. And of course, with all the relevant products that we have, including AI inferences with our Atlas 500 Pro, we technically monitor real-time traffic throughout the highway, noticing vehicles with illegal parking at the roadside, overtaking with overspeed, everything, right, that you can name it, has been monitored under this traffic management system, even with accident assist and so on. All right, the most important is that when we talk about smart cities earlier on, when you notice traffic congestion, the traffic management system can basically help you to do traffic reroute by integrating to all your traffic lights to let the population itself to reroute to their place in a shorter time, right? So this is something that we can do and what we have done. And of course, what we have proposed to some of the state government as well. Yeah, so the last bit I want to talk about the cloud itself. I'm pretty sure that when you have application run across the globe, especially from US to China, with the tension nowadays, you'll find that people from China can hardly access website from US. You may also have experienced that people all around the world experience very slow access to the Chinese website, right? So in Huawei Cloud, we do have our own solution that basically breaks through this. I don't say that we bypass the firewall, we still go through the firewall, but with a Huawei cloud construct and our value proposition, we technically have a dedicated backbone back to China. And this is how we can help enterprise, especially those with business inside the mainland, to solve this connection and connectivity problem. So I know that a lot of cloud providers have the whole world coverage except China, right? Or even with China's region, they will find the network is a bit lack of latency is there. Huawei is so far the only cloud provider that resolve this issue. All right, being that there are also other China cloud providers in the world. Okay, so that's all. I think because limited time, I can't tell a lot. If I can, I wish I can talk for the next 1 or 2 hours. Yeah, but this is what Huawei intends to do. Although I think a lot of people think that we have been a challenging brand, that people put us on the eye of the world. Huawei, we are neutral. We really want to help every person, every home in this world to get connected to the intelligent world. And that's what we intend to do. Okay, thank you so much. Do feel free to come to me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Lo. bringing digital connectivity to family, to businesses, to organizations, to every part of the global cities to bridge the gap, the digital divide. And Huawei has been huge contributors in the development and integration of 5G. And I have to say kudos to Huawei to be industry pioneers and, driving initiatives that are very, very, very future forward. Now, I hear a lot of stomachs rumbling. I think some people were even impatient that they've already started. So now I'm going to be, I also know that I'm the only one right now standing between you and your lunch right now. So please make your way to the foyer and for the networking lunch. Our next session will commence promptly at 2 p.m. Network, enjoy your food and beverage served to you, and see you later at 2 p.m. Thank you.